Man died after contracting COVID-19 and having allergic reaction possibly triggered by TCM pills.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to another episode of
Huat The Health,
a series on all things health from perspective of TCM physicians here in Singapore.
My name is Ming.
I'm Kat.
And I'm Zheng Jia.
So in the article headline that we mentioned in the opener, this was actually a real article that was released, and it caused a lot of disgruntlement and unhappiness among a lot of TCM physicians. So we talking about this topic today, which is public perception about traditional Chinese medicine in Singapore. And this headline is actually, I think, very, very misleading. And it's one of the reasons why I think the state of TCM is like that in Singapore. Yeah, and so we'll go about some of the reasons why we think that public perception in Singapore is not so good about TCM, what are the causes, and also maybe what are some things that maybe can be improved so that it doesn't stay this way lah. So maybe you want to share a bit more of the story. You were very passionate about it when it first came out, right? So what exactly happened in this man died by taking COVID-19 TCM pills?
Okay, so basically, right, there was this guy that had COVID. So, there's this pill called the Yuan that is available in the market. So, one of the misleading headlines at the very beginning of COVID, right, was like, oh, it can cure COVID. Okay, so a lot of people that, it's the COVID drug, but it is not. It doesn't cure COVID. It actually helps to relieve and alleviate the symptoms of COVID, which is like maybe runny nose, cough, and all those kind of things. But it is not a cure for COVID. Okay, so the man basically took that pill. And I think according to the article, actually, he took the pills before, like to clear the body heatiness lah. Okay, so after that, he took 2 Panadols before going to sleep, and then after that, in the morning, he woke up again, and he was very uncomfortable lah. So basically, he was admitted to hospital because his condition worsened, and then after that, the article said that he died possibly because eating the TCM pills. But actually, if you click the article, right, he didn't die because he ate the pills. There is some other reasons, and TCM might be one of the reasons, but it did not like directly cause his death lah. You know what I mean? Because after he took the pills, he rested for a while, he took the Panadol. So it may or may not have been the Panadol also, right?
Drug-hep interaction.
Yes, correct. It may or may not be like other things that cause like...
It might have just been that he really got very badly affected by the COVID itself, yes, right? Correct. And not by any medication.
But I think that it is very unfair to write in the article that he died because of the TCM medicine lah, which is very unfair. So a lot of people, right, they will think that the TCM drug, the Lianhua drug, is the one that caused him to pass away. But actually it's not. So a lot of like older people, right, they will not read the article. It's like a clickbait lah, They will just read the article, and then they will read the headlines, and then they will assume that the TCM drug will make you die if you eat it. So when I contracted COVID after the news came out, right, my grandmother texted me, don't take the Chinese medicine. You got see the news about the 61 years old that died or not? And then like as a TCM physician, I would know what is best, right? So I'll be like, no, it's not like this one. He did not die because of the medicine. So like we'll have to try to always explain to other people why actually it is actually okay to take the Lianhua pills. Okay, so in TCM, right, there's this Huang Lian component inside, which actually
berberine. I think it's berberine.
Yeah, I'm not sure what is the English name. It's like a lot of people can take, but like everything, it has to be like, if you want, you have to ask like the TCM physician whether you are suitable to take it lah. Because in Singapore, right, actually there's this very common G6PD
allergy.
G6PD deficiency. So those kind of people, they cannot take herbs that contains Huang Lian because their liver will have like some interactions lah. So those kind of people, they cannot take. So it doesn't mean that this guy died because of like the COVID pills. It really can be a lot of other reasons. So by writing that it's TCM fault, right, it's a little bit unfair to all of us because there's also a lot of people in this world, right, that is allergic to Panadol. That's allergic to like those NSAIDs and everything. So it's very unfair to just pinpoint that it's TCM fault lah. No?
Yeah, even putting it as like possibly due to TCM is very damaging. Yeah, and in the article, the headlines didn't mention anything, but in the article it did say that like after he went to the hospital, for like sore throat or something like that, they gave him injection, right? And then after that, 2 hours later, then he passed away or something like that. Yeah, so who knows, it could have been the injection given by the Western doctor as well that triggered an allergic reaction or something and caused his demise or something. Yeah.
I mean, we're not saying that it's the Western's fault, but we are just saying that it's very unfair to pinpoint it specifically to TCM just because it's TCM.
Yeah, I guess even though they did put like a clause where, you know, all the headlines, even though they were all quite different, but most of them, what they tried to highlight was the correlation between TCM and the death, right? Even though they all use words like possibly or what. But like, you know, like her grandma is very easily to misconstrue this kind of information, especially if you don't read deeply enough into the headline or into the article itself lah. And I guess that's where this is not a one-off thing. I think it has been a recurring thing for, you know, the past few years, at least that we've been paying attention. It's
because it concerns us, ma.
Yeah, but I guess the nature of TCM, I think it's very easy to sensationalize some of these topics, right? Especially when something happens, it's very easy to jump on them because it's exciting, and then it draws attention. But a lot of the times, I think it's very damaging to public perception on TCM, and I think it's not good lah for the image of TCM in Singapore in the long term.
I think it kind of stems also from the problem that TCM has, which is it's not 100% scientifically proven. Yeah, it uses concepts that can be very easily misunderstood, and very hard to explain, and very hard to use also, I guess, in day-to-day life, especially if like you are not in the industry, you're not trained in, it does bring about a lot of confusion and so it can lead to a lot of, you know, all this kind of allergic reactions, or you eat too much of something and then it causes an adverse reaction or something.
The loopholes, I would say, make it easy to attack lah, right? But that's not to say that, you know, TCM, there is really no fault lah, right? I mean, obviously in certain cases, yes, it is true that maybe because of drug interaction or because of some allergies, the TCM medication or the TCM treatment is indeed the cause of harm or injury. But I mean, isn't that the case in any situation,
it's
right?
everywhere. It's not just TCM.
Even in Western medicine, right? And probably even more so because of the aggressiveness of some of their treatments. So the thing that bothers me is that it's very easy to paint a bad picture about TCM, but no one really paints a good picture about TCM, right? You don't hear of success stories, you don't hear of positive things relating to TCM. I mean, sure, if it's something that's really bad, you can post it, but why is no one actually posting the good things that happen?
Positive effects.
Yeah, what are the benefits that it has brought people? I mean, it's easy to say that, oh yeah, we want to include TCM into this initiative and things like that. But I guess the media or you know, the broader community is quite hesitant to be very proactive because then, you know, you're liable then in terms of your view lah, right? If anything happens, because like what you said, there's a lot of uncertainty around TCM concepts still, right?
Yeah, it's quite a tough topic lah, I think, because on one hand, as physicians or as people in the industry, we do feel the effects of this kind of poor writing, but on the other hand, also we hear of malpractice. Yeah, and it does set back the industry quite a fair bit when we hear reports of malpractice reported in the news. For
Sometimes
example,
like the malpractice, right? They are not even like registered TCM practitioners.
Yeah. Or even the medication that they take might not be
from a registered TCM
from registered,
physician.
yeah, they might have bought something from online.
Mhm.
It just happens that it's being sold as a
TCM
TCM,
product.
but inside it might contain other herbs or other drugs or they cham lah, a bit of herb here, a bit of drug there.
Yeah, so actually to know whether like it's actually a safe to eat drug, right? Actually behind all the TCM products there will be like it is safe to consume as a TCM proprietary medicine.
Yeah,
So
correct.
you know that it is regulated by the
Singapore,
HSA.
Yeah, HSA.
Yeah. So it is that one should be trustable one.
Yeah.
Okay, one thing is also don't buy stuff like random
Yeah.
stuff, especially
online, those kind.
weight loss drugs, like those detox drugs. Okay, there may be some allergens inside that we may not know of, and it might cause like liver failure and everything. And then after that, later the news will come out and say, oh, TCM product causes liver failure, but no, it is not. It's just marketed as that product. But
This spills over to, I think, a lot of establishments as well, right? So I guess in the Western medicine community, it's very regulated, right? You want to open a Western clinic, you definitely need to have some form of licensing and things like that, right? But in TCM, it's very easy to say that, oh, you do TCM treatment, you do TCM massage, right? But the person doing it may not necessarily be a licensed physician.
Licensed, trained.
Yeah. So I guess that where also adds into the problem, right? Where you maybe generally wanted to see a TCM, but then because you go into these maybe dodgy establishments and you get serviced by someone who's not a licensed professional, and that's where sometimes problems may occur, right? And then because you actually went to seek out TCM, so your problem actually you find it related to TCM, and not the fact that the establishment itself was problematic to begin with. Yeah, so I guess in this regard, I think more regulation can be done in terms of marketing and advertising for TCM related treatments. I think this is an area that can make it a little bit more regulated and safer for consumers.
So actually one way to know whether you are going into like a regulated establishment, right? Actually, there is a website to go and check to see the credibility of the physician that you're seeing or like the clinic that you're seeing. So you can go to the TCMPB website. Then after that you go under the search bar and then search for the particular clinic or the particular TCM physician's name. So if you manage to find the person, because the person should be registered, so by right it should appear. So if the name appears, you should know that actually they are quite trustable because they have gone through all the tests and licensing exam, and then we are trained in that area to do all the treatments under the safety guidelines lah. Okay, so but of course there are some instances where there might be like burns, like cuppings and all those kind, which it may or may not be the TCM physician's fault also. Must see the condition also.
Yeah, the context lah. And every clinic has to display also like our practicing certificate, of the physician who is practicing over there. Yeah, so you can look out for these few things lah. Yeah, one is the website, secondly is the practicing certificate, and the registration number as well.
Yeah, although the treatment might cost a little bit slightly higher than those like maybe those neighborhood massage parlors, but then just do know that at least you are in a much better hands. I mean, I'm not trying to say that they're like that you shouldn't go there, but like if you want it to be like safer and like more trustable, just visit a regulated TCM shop lah.
Managing expectations lah.
Generally, I think acupuncture and prescribing medication, if you go to a clinic and the physician is able to prescribe medication and give you acupuncture, generally they're licensed lah. I think that is quite regulated in Singapore. I mean, because also those two treatments tend to be a bit more
invasive.
So it's sort of the higher risk treatments, right? So in those areas, then yes, I think it's quite safe. If the physician can give you acupuncture and medicine, should be okay. We are more referring to maybe things like cupping, tuina, moxibustion. We realize that these are treatments that actually anyone can really market themselves to be doing. and there's also safety guidelines that has to be followed lah, because these are treatments that can also cause harm if not done properly. Yeah. So if you really need to do any of these TCM treatments, at the end of the day, we still recommend you to go to a licensed TCM clinic or to a licensed practitioner rather than to some place that is maybe not so trustworthy lah. Yeah.
And then the main thing is before you want to do like visit a TCM, you just do your own research. Okay, because what is good for other people may not be good for you also.
The same thing for the articles, right? Like any articles that come online, I think nowadays with the propagation of fake news and people who just want attention, it's always important to verify the source of the information and also to read between the lines, right? So even though in this particular article that we mentioned, it was from a reputable source, of course, all the local news outlets, but it required you to sort of read between the lines.
Yeah, to
to
know
understand.
that actually TCM is not the direct cause of death. It may be a reason, but the real reason is still like under
unknown.
investigation.
Yeah, unknown or uncertain. Maybe at the end of the day, it really was the TCM's fault. We don't know lah.
Yeah.
Right.
But it's unfair to pinpoint it to TCM before
so innocent
the
until
results
proven
even come out.
guilty.
Yeah.
Right.
Singapore is guilty proven until proven innocent, I think.
Is it?
No idea. I never studied
Some
law.
lawyer can advise us in the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the reason why it's important to share is also because I think this has very big repercussions on the TCM scene in Singapore. Among the TCM community, one of the gripes that we have is that it's not growing as fast as it potentially can, and there's always a lot of pushback from various
Black ships.
angles lah, whether be internally or externally. So that day I was just talking to my patient, then the person was telling me that actually in Australia, TCM is very recognized. In fact, they have the same level of rights as Western medicine. So like the consumers there, they go for TCM, they have the entitled to insurance, subsidies, same level as Western medicine. This is in Australia, where they recognize complementary TCM medicine. Yeah. So why is it that this is not the same situation in Singapore, right? In today's context where everything is modernized already and everything is very data driven, why is it that we still can't reach a consensus as to the use of TCM in Singapore?
I think maybe it's because like really TCM lacks the scientific evidence that it can actually work lah. People will think that it's just a placebo. Yeah. So
But I think, did we mention this before?
yes, we did.
Yeah. A lot of papers are in Chinese.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's one of the main barriers also lah.
Hopefully when we're old, it's recognizable and on the same level as the Western lah. Huh?
Yeah, even with the evidence, I think like what we say, it is really a multifactorial thing.
Yeah.
No matter how good we are, if media perspective or the wider community perspective is still not great, then there's never going to be any development in this area. Yeah, so I think this is something that as a community we can work on improving, and also hopefully by changing this is one step in the direction of getting TCM into a higher standing lah, which I feel is important. So like in China, especially TCM, I would say is quite on par with Western medicine. I think I got mentioned this before, right? In hospitals, you are able to sort of seek both treatments concurrently. You can do surgery, you can do TCM, you can take medication, both Western and Eastern in the same hospital, which is very difficult to achieve in Singapore, right? Because of this disconnect between East and West medicine. So I feel that if we are able to sort of improve the standing of TCM and also get that integration with Western medicine, there's a lot of potential. Yeah, there's really a lot of potential to reach in this field, and I think the efficacy, we will be surprised at how much improvement we can get, right?
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's for the patients also, right? Yeah, so trying to find the best option, best way to treat a certain thing, whether it's through conventional Western methods or through traditional methods, is is worth considering lah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else to add?
No, just do your research first.
Yeah.
But if anything that you're unsure, just go and ask your TCM physician. They will know the best lah.
Okay. So we end off the episode.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.